I feel in the face of all the problems in the world impotent, and why I somehow cannot manage to transform I. Now here we get to the real problem, because we're always telling each other that we should be different. Now I'm not going to tell you that tonight. Why not? Because I know you can't. Nor can I. That may sound depressing, but I'll tell you it isn't. It's very hard. But everybody, you see, who is at all sensitive and awake to their own problems and human problems is trying to change himself. We know we can't change the world unless we change ourselves. So when we are aware of the ego I, we are aware of this chronic tension inside ourselves. And that's not us. It's a futile tension. So when we get the illusion, the image of ourselves, married to a futile tension, you've got an illusion married to a futility. And then you wonder why I can't do anything.
Good morning. We're going to talk about Bitcoin. Let's just dive right into it. Okay. So we have a beautiful exponential parabola here. Higher highs are constantly forming. Really, we're just waiting on this massive plume of mass generation to finally form so we can define reasonable mean reversion pivots. Shorting is out of the question until we actually cross those pivots. And currently, last time I checked yesterday, at least on the 4 hour, our shortest, or rather our closest period of mass for the previous generation was around 16% away. Price has gone up, but so has the mean inversion pivot. So in theory, it might be closer. Today it is 200, and the bands do default to the 200 period. So the good news is we'll be able to check that right away. Right, currently, for me to be even slightly bearish on Bitcoin, it would need to retrace 18%. Entertainingly enough, that is a higher percentage than the day prior, well, simply because price has gone up. Now, it's very little to actually give us means of predicting continued expansion. Exponential parabolas are pretty damn ridiculous and attempting to find this exact swing high, and that's kind of why I don't recommend trying to do so. Essentially, we're just going to see this compression at the top of the range, hopefully. All right. When you start to see the top edges of your extreme values, most periods start to curl inwards, that's a pretty good sign of compression. And, as soon as you actually start seeing the compression work its way up underneath the plume of mass, you see that 14 period turning green, right? That finally means we're getting some kind of compression on at least the lowest periods. And usually when you generate this much mass, this cleanly, where it's all connected in a nice plume because the move was so significant, Well, I'm very happy to say we have other examples of where this has happened in the past and the kind of move that resulted from it. Lo and behold, when we get significant expansion, like we see here, where it's all nice and connected, chances are, or rather the chances of us getting re-expansion at any time, well, any time isn't the right way to say that, at least for a short period of time, in this instance, 18 days after this plume of expansion, we saw nothing but compression, and of course, compression is simply lateral trading. So, you can relatively accurately predict that once you start seeing compression of your shorter periods, that you will get compression on the longer periods, as it tends to radiate upwards rather cleanly. So, predicting that this is where it will flag out is pretty reasonable, to be honest. Well, let's see if I can find an example where this failed, right? Where we did not get compression after that expansion. So let's just look at the 3D Wave PM just to see if we can do it. Right, every time we saw a little bit of green after the plume of mass, we see very long periods before expansion begins again. And usually it lasts relative to the actual size of the expansion. The shorter the expansion, the faster re-expansion can be in. However, the important note is it's very difficult to cause re-expansion if the period has already been expanded. And that's why we call it volatility overhead, because when new mass attempts to expand upwards, the previous longest overexpanded periods, that's the incorrect term, excuse me, the previous periods with excessive mass don't want to be re-expanded from a place of excessive mass. It's like you have a truck rolling down a hill. When's it going to be easier to push it back up the hill? When it reaches the bottom and it's stopped moving and the momentum has ended? Or when it's gaining momentum in the middle of the hill? Obviously the prior, right? So to assume that we could once again re-expand these longer periods is like saying Hercules materialized in the middle of the hill, caught the car from falling down the hill, and then started to push it back up. I'm not saying it's impossible, I'm saying it's at least more improbable than the alternative, right? The alternative is just compression, where we see the market returning to a state of potential energy. And well, a state of potential energy is a lateral period of just compressing ranges and sideways price action. Here's a kind of cool example. What happened here? Yeah, so this is a very unique example because it came from a very long period of compression on the daily chart. And I'll point that out to you. Right, and I'm just going to point out what potential energy looks like. This is potential energy when we get these huge swaths of blue. Right, because the price here just funneled down into a very compressed range. And then actually when you start getting new expansion all in the same direction, well, that results in very significant trend. And lo and behold, it's kind of entertaining to see that this period of compression was more significant than the entire period of compression from the previous bull run. That's insane. That's why this move has been so significant. It's just because the amount of potential energy available. That's a clean chart. That's awesome. So it's kind of interesting to think that this little move here, or rather this period of compression here, generated more potential energy than all of this compression over here. And we can define that as a metric by looking at 3D Wave PM. And that is just gorgeous on each instance. Really. Wow. Okay. As far as the actual 3.2 standard deviation goes over here, again, any kind of bearish confirmation candle would be nice. But betting against trend right now is a bad idea. a really true, strong parabola. So it's got to sit back and wait for it, okay? As far as the 1 hour chart goes, let's take a quick peek, see if there's anything interesting we can gain off of it. Nah. Nothing too interesting. Nah, just really obvious trend. With that in mind, it's kind of all I have to say about Bitcoin today. You know, we can't really make a prediction other than just lateral trading, just a sideways move. So with that in mind, yeah, that's all I have to say. Oh, I should probably address the actual title of this video. Is it altcoin season? Maybe. You know, these downtrends have just been so aggressive and so long that it's important to note just how far away our mean reversion pivots are. Right, trend is still defined on a lot of coins. You're a lot better off to predict that this is simply the swing low, or, excuse me, the swing high in the downtrend, than actually assuming trend continuation for a lot of these coins. There are a few, the occasional coin that is showing significant. Whoa, what was that? Sky. That's a party. Hey, how much you bet it bounces here? 15%. Okay, I'm just gonna draw this out and come back to it at the end of the video. Okay, wish that luck. We'll come back to it. We'll see. Anyway, yeah, XRP is showing a lot more strength than a lot of the other coins right now. Cat with Charts says the 3.2 standard deviation of the November drop is in the low 9,000s. We've been consolidating at the 2.2. I'm kind of annoyed when I'm right about shit like this. Look at that. Okay. Trend continuation. Very nice. So let's take a look at TRX as well, just briefly. Not on the 1 minute chart, of course. You know, again, assuming this is the swing high of the downtrend is at least more probable than assuming the alternative. Especially if you go to those macro time frames and really take a look at these downtrends. Let's check the mean reversion pivots. What's nice about these kinds of aggressive downtrends is that it's easier for the range to end through a lateral period than it is for just an uptrend to start. Right? So let's take a look at this previous downtrend over here, right? Strong, aggressive, very straightforward. And we got the same here. Strong, aggressive, very straightforward. And I guess we do have this bullish order block. But I'm not too keen on considering that kind of information. What we can do is look at the quad CCI and say the 4 hour. Let's set an alarm for that because, you know, calling it a short, just assuming trend continuation is just too clean of a play. Okay, let's set an alarm. All right, there's no reason not to assume trend continuation unless you have significant bullish volume, and I don't see that happening. Okay, we want to see quad CCI. We want to see plot crossing down the 100 value. Make sure that's correct. Looks correct to me. Let's create it. Good. You know, did TradingView remove the option to receive texts? Send email to SMS. I think that's it. I might have adjusted some settings. Doesn't matter. Anyway. Also, I have this signal that fired ergo. Oh. Oh my. Low volume shitcoin, but hey. Also, I have no idea what value this plume of mass is generated to. But if we retest this previous low, this is the kind of coin that goes 300% for no reason. And that's appealing. Although, Bittrex is kind of a dead animal at this point, so... not the most appealing. Everything is green. And I have to say it, guys, the trends are still intact. Just across the board. Like, yeah, I'd like to call some longs, but our mass generation is just so large that our longest over expanded periods are still like 20% away for a lot of these coins. And that's why, again, I think lateral moves are gonna be more probable here for the mean reversion conditions to at least begin. We can even visualize this on Bitcoin as well, where, you know, when we trigger the mean reversion condition, it starts out with just 3 months of sideways trading instead of just immediate popping back up, right? Because it would require an odd amount of force to cause that kind of upward trend right after the downtrend. So these compressionary periods are at least more probable. Let's go ahead and check Sky again, because that was a pretty nice chart. Let's see if it's done what I want it to. Not yet. I'll laugh if it actually works out, but I wouldn't literally bet on it. That's all I have to say today. Is there anything else worth looking at? Not convinced. I mean, I guess I could just go through the entire watch list and find something I like, because it's a good way to do things. Let's go. See if we can find any mean inversion pivots here on ADA. No, these are all too far away from the mean inversion pivots. It's just ridiculous. Like, maybe I'll try calling a short on TRX or ADA, but other than that... Is Blaze really popping off this moment? I knew it. That's absolutely ridiculous. In the time that I've been watching this, how far has this gone? 17%. God damn it. Might be worth just camping on the volume monitor today. This is a pretty good resource for like trying to FOMO into things. On days like today, when you're looking for ridiculous stuff, if you look at net volume percentage increase, it's going to be very helpful for like determining. Once you start getting into the higher ping values, and red and orange, or red and yellow are the warning signs for this. It's definitely worth playing around with this tool during alt season and times of FOMO, okay? Like, rec right now, it's not significant. We'll check it out. Rec and Dash. Yeah, you can make a lot of money just trading the net volume. Doesn't really align. Yeah, see that? That can be a warning sign. Might want to actually play this coin. Hold on. Yeah, okay. So it looks like on the previous uptick, we did repeatedly get these higher highs. I might actually call this right now, just like a short-term play. Huh. And then we can just assume any kind of lower low would be a stop. Let's check out what the actual values are on this. Like, yeah, we could just do like a 3% stop loss and assume 9%. Let's draw it out. So help me God, if this is already running. This volume is very promising. I think something actually might happen on this chart. Check Sky as well. Lower low. Okay, that's too bad. All the volatility today is just so interesting to watch. It's 10% 1 minute candles. That is a chart worth playing, my friends. Sky, EVX 27%, but the 36th ping. No. 15-minute ain't bad. Is that my alert? What gives me alerts? I have no idea. That was weird. Oh, volume monitor. Rack. I knew it. Scalping the 1 minute chart on days like this can be very profitable if you look at the proper volume readings. Christ, what did I set the take profit as? 10%? This is a 10% move. That's appealing. Try CMT. AMB is actually giving a full ping right now. Let's check that out. This might be worth playing with today. %, one candle. Okay. This is pretty insane, guys. There's a lot of profit to be made today. S&M. This looks okay. And I'm going to be right back. Hold on. Hello, I'm back. So, how much you bet this is already taken off? I stepped away for like a second. I'm pretty sure it hasn't changed. Never mind. It's like 0.5%. What are the chances this is seeing trend continuation? Hmm? Okay. Oh, well, we could have just paid 10% on that. I think I'm going to end the live stream and actually trade, because these conditions are really to my liking right now, and I feel like dealing with that. Alright, folks, I'll talk to you later. Have a good one.